So coming back to this whole like mentality approach to training, I was looking at what is the best way to approach your training to get the most arousal and focus. So there's 3 ways to improve circulatory arousal. So there's preparatory arousal. So that's like watching Ronnie Coleman's fucking Machiavelli motivation video where he just says, yeah, buddy, like 400,000 times. Or you watch like Blood and Guts or something.
Yeah.
Before you go in, or like anything, something
G-up.
that's going to give you got to watch it to get G'd up before you go.
Yep.
Then there's motivating self-talk. So that's the things you say to yourself. Like apparently,
the Kittle one.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's actually a really awesome example.
I breathe in health, I exhale pain.
Exhale pain. Yeah. And then even there's talks like, even like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant are like, this shot's going in.
Yeah.
In their mind, they're like, this is already in. Yeah. Ronaldo, they're saying like, I'm going to score this free kick as he's putting the ball down on the ground.
Yeah.
So, they're the best to ever do it. So it's probably something to take note of.
Yeah.
And then there's imagery. So it's like looking at that's why some gyms have
the posters.
The posters. Like, I don't really feel like the murals do it for me.
No.
Because I'm just like, that's not a person.
Yeah.
That's a painted person.
Yeah.
Where like if I see it, it's weird though, but if I see a photo, I'm like, oh, that's mad. Like we went to this Victory gym in Airport West.
Yeah.
It's this little like 1980s time warp.
It looks sick.
It's so nice. And there was like Dorian Yates like signed, a picture on the wall and all these like 80s and 90s bodybuilders. And like that G'd me up.
Yeah.
Because it was a picture of them. But yeah,
because you were in the place.
Well, I feel like it was everything. It was like that's a photo of him actually in a spot lifting a weight in physical being at a given time. Right?
Yeah. But did it make a difference that he'd signed it in the gym and you were in that gym and you're like, Dorian's been here?
I don't know if that was the case, but it was like I was like, this is cool. It's cool. Like this is a guy that I respect, and like that's a real picture of him. Where like when you see the painted pictures on the wall, I'm like, that's art.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. But then again, all it takes is like for a motivational quote or something like that for you to see it, and then you're like, I'm locked in. And people, so the thing was, there's no evidence to suggest that one is better than the other.
Yeah,
it's personal preference,
of course.
So I'm not a big one of like, I don't need to listen to the buddy.
Yeah,
and watch people do the thing. I'm a big self-talker.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, even when this in the set. Yep. If it gets hard, like even now and then I might actually speak out loud, which I probably shouldn't. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, you can do this.
Yeah.
And that just works for me.
Yeah.
So I think if you're trying to create a high performance training environment and you look at something like a gym, you would probably want to have all 3.
Yeah.
And then when you look at some places, that's why they have
the meccas,
the training videos going on. I don't know if it's an accident or if they actually look into it. And it's like you've got the training videos going on at the same time. You've got the pictures and stuff on the walls.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're not going to be able to get in someone's mind, but you kind of would make the chance. Well, that's right. And then they maybe that brings on some form of positive self-talk.
Yeah.
Pre, during, or after the set.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's cool to unpack even for yourself and go, which one sits the best with me? Or if I like all 3 of them, how can I bring those things into my attention to bring my best?
That's what the vision board thing is too, eh? It's the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
What percentage of your self-talk is like positive?
And when I'm in a set, it's all positive.
Okay.
Like I don't sit there and I'm like, oh, you're a weak bitch, and that like makes me get up. Like as much as like we love to joke about it.
Yeah.
Mine's like, you can do this, man. Like you can run through, you could snap this barbell if you needed to.
Yeah.
Like I just have to, And then I obviously like paint worst case scenario pictures in my head.
Yeah.
Like someone's going to kill my dog or, and I'm like, if I don't get this up, man, like they're going to take him from me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I'm doing it, bro. And that, like, think about that though.
Yeah.
It's like you set these rules in your head.
Yeah.
And you go, well,
for arousal.
Like my whole world's going to come down crashing on top of me if I don't get those 2 reps out.
Yeah.
So you do it.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I feel like I don't have much outside of like. Oh, maybe I do. I just don't notice it as much. A lot of mine's physical.
Yeah.
More so on the strength side.
Yeah.
Like preset, it's like it's the way I stand, it's the way I breathe, it's the way I hold myself. Like I haven't deadlifted for a year.
Yeah. So, but I would say that's so you have an image of how that deadlift looks. So you're like, if it's
embody that.
Yeah. If it's stamp your feet.
Yeah.
If it's, slap the sides of your hips, it's like you're thinking about that even subconsciously before you get to the lift.
Yeah. So we were at even the first sesh I did with M, walked up to the bar, and as soon as it got to a weight that I was like, I have to fucking pay attention, I rattled the bar.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm pulled a bar off I have no business shaking a bar and like shaking my head right now. It's like I haven't deadlifted for 12 months, just picked the thing up, but it's just like this
heavy weightlifting Ben does.
Yeah, it's like this is who I need to be right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I need to stand up and flare my chest and flare my nostrils and breathe hard and shake the bar around and be aggressive and all of that. So, but I don't. It's not necessarily a thought. It's really interesting.
Yeah,
I've never even considered it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I guess like you could just add on to those though, that like some form of like routine, or it's probably like a subsection of like excellence elsewhere.
Yeah.
Like a subsection of excellence elsewhere is just like how you do the thing.
Yeah. Well, it is like expressing it's the words, but it's communicated physically.
Yeah.
Because like as I go through, well, why would I do that? It's just like I'm telling myself I'm powerful. If I all of a sudden stand up and flare my ribs and fucking stare the bar down or whatever, it's like that's me just not saying you are powerful. It's just doing it.
Yeah, and you've unpacked in your head whoever it is for whatever task. This is the sequence that it's going to take in order for me to be my best. So that's like giving you confidence that you cannot approach this any better. Yeah. So you're leaving it all on the line.
Yeah. Yeah, I do it with my eyes too. I like do this weird like stare thing when I know the set's coming. It's like
you have to bring the pain.
Yeah. Like even training with people and that you can feel them see it.
Yeah.
It's like I'm about to do my set. This conversation ends right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, but I don't think everyone has to get there because we've seen people just laughing and so I think it's just knowing the person and how to get the most out of them, but just knowing what tools that you have in the basket to give them to go, hey, like maybe try this, maybe do that.
Yeah. Well, even like we've spoke about receiver last week and I just mentioned Kittle, like he does the affirmation thing. Just the way he talks about such a high intensity game in a high intensity position.
He's so relaxed.
It's just like he goes, and is it Montgomery? He's like, McCaffrey's just really good at football.
Yeah.
And I was like, it fucking killed me, man.
I think McCaffrey got like top 3 in the league this year.
Yeah. It's just like, we were really lucky that McCaffrey's just really good at
Yeah.
football.
Oh, that's when he won the game for them against,
when
I can't remember now, but it was like in the playoffs.
Yeah, Debo got injured as shit. Yeah.
The Lions.
Yeah.
And they won right at the end.
Yeah. I was like,
because he's
so relaxed, and that's his thing, to go and play an incredibly intense physical game and just be like, isn't football just fun?
Yeah.
And you're like, wow. Yeah. And there's other people headbutting each other and shit.
Yeah. So it's knowing the best. How are we doing for time? 13 minutes? Yeah, sick. That went places. I love that. So I only got a couple other questions. I feel like we've answered these, but we can answer them again. It's totally fine.
New listeners.
How effective is a refeed for someone in a hard deficit?
Define effective.
I was going to say the same. Absolutely. So you got to define what effective means. It's like, what intention are you trying to get out of said refeed?
Yeah. If it makes you feel better.
Yeah. Do you reckon that's what they're saying though?
Probably not. Probably does it make you lose more fat on the other side, increase metabolic rate and all that stuff.
Yeah.
In which case, how effective is it net to lose body fat in a vacuum, not considering psychological factors? Meh.
I would say nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the time frame's not long enough to be effective for any of those physiological intentions that people have.
Yeah.
So
other than you might do a good workout, like.
Yeah. Where if your effectiveness is like giving this person a mental reprieve temporarily so that they'll go back into the hole again, then that's a different kind of application for it. But you have to make allowances for the fact that that person on that day is most likely not losing as per se, but it still falls into the greater plan, which is much more effective if that's how...
It does what we spoke about earlier, which is the buy-in.
Yeah.
It's like, I've had a refeed. I'm okay. I'm fine now. I just needed that day.
Yeah, I think people ask it because they just want they want to think like, I can eat more and lose weight. Like I can, you know what I mean? Maybe. Like I feel like people want that kind of sign off that at some point temporarily my food's going to go up, but it's still going to push me towards the objective. It's like when you like look at it mechanistically, like it doesn't really make that much sense. And then if you're trying to upregulate all of the quote unquote negative adaptations that come from like, you know, controlled famine. Yeah. It's not long enough. Yeah. It'd be like, you like just say extreme deficit dieting is like being sunburnt. So you go out of the sun for one day.
Doesn't fix it.
And you come back into the sun like you're still sunburnt. Yeah. So to offset the sunburn, you would need a week, possibly even 10 days. Yeah. So that's where your refeed/diet break, there's some form of commonality with that. Like we can't sit here and say it's directly the same as sunburn. But
it's a good analogy though.
It's a similar concept though. You're not like, you're just like, oh, go out of the sun for today. Like say the person's like has to work outside in the sun and has no protective clothing. Yeah. And they're like, fuck man, I just need a break. Yeah. You're like, cool, just take the day in the shade. Yeah. But you don't get any work done that day. So you have to understand you don't make any money. You don't move towards like your income goals. Yeah. But you need a break.
The 4 days after that is better.
Yeah. You need a break from the sun that day.
You can't take it anymore. Yeah.
It's exactly the same concept with deficit dieting and extreme deficit dieting, where it's like the person needs a mental reprieve from the hard, ship of what is getting extremely lean.
I think there's also a consideration, even on the psychological side, that a lot of people will then flip into surviving till the next one.
Oh, absolutely.
And if you think about the mentality stuff that we've talked about today, if you're surviving, your workouts aren't going to be as good, your performance isn't going to be as good, your moods aren't going to be as good, your stress is going to be higher, all of those things. So you actually, I think, need to be careful sometimes of like prescribing one. Not necessarily like lessening the comp prep stuff, but I think there's I've got some of my girls who aren't there. Yeah. And it's just like, oh, if you're planning like a refeed or a whatever, I'm like, nah, like the data /feedback /whatever will determine when I'm like, yeah, maybe you need some calories for a bit. But I'm hesitant because I don't want to put in your head that when it gets really hard, you get fed. So then you make it really hard so you get fed more often.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you like almost create a self-fulfilling prophecy where it's like, all right, I need one.
Yeah, so like the 5, like the cycle diet. I took that from your weekly carb cycling. I couldn't do that. Yeah. Because having a huge feed on a Saturday night wouldn't work for me to then go back into it on Monday and then just like grit it out to the next one. If I eat heaps of food for a week, I'm like, fuck, I can't wait to stop eating. Yeah, I get it. And then it takes halfway through that week to be like, ooh, I'm hungry. Yeah. But it's like, it's okay. Calories go up. Yeah, I understand. Push. This is, and also, this is the week I have to lose body fat. It. Yeah. This is the week I have. Yeah. Don't fuck it up. No, so don't have that fucking cookie. Yeah. You don't have room for it this week.
Yeah, and you're going to get it next week. Or possibly.
Yeah. So that...
Put that cookie down. No.
So psychologically, that worked way better for me than a 5 and 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So I think finding, what system, making sure that you're not like me, and it's just like, cool, you can have an extra 1,000 calories, 2,000 calories on one day,
Yeah.
and then not being like, well, that's all I live for.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's like if you had that laboratory controlled environment, like you're not going to support the things that you think are happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because and then if you like, without having the laboratory controlled environment, you just have to think of the logic of it. It's like if someone's starving, let's go back like 100 years, right? If someone's starving and they get a kill for the day. So they feast on this fucking deer for like the whole day, like the whole village do.
Yeah.
But they've been starving before that.
Yeah.
They don't wake up the next day and go, I'm full.
I'm shredded. Yeah.
Well, they don't.
True. Yeah.
They don't wake up the next day and go, I'm full, I'm this, I'm that. They're still fucking starving because what's happened before that, up to that immediate point, is so, like, the magnitude of that is so high that one acute, or even if there was leftovers for the day after, those two acute feedings are nowhere near good enough to negate
the starvation phase.
What you've created before that. So it's still, like, when they say effectiveness, and when they, some people have asked, like, when do you do the diet break? When do you do the refeed? You also have to consider, like, what's being done before and after said strategies, because that's really gonna depend on the duration and the amplification of how many calories you're gonna have and all that kind of shit. But it won't. I'm very confident the person that asked this question is thinking about it in a way that it's going to improve their fat loss ability. It's not going to mechanistically, but it will in a roundaboutish way maybe get some buy-in from that person, give them some mental reprieve so they can dig and work hard and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And a good night's sleep.
Yeah, possibly.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I've been using it for that for some of my guys.
Yeah. So I have an interesting evolutionary theory that I want to, perhaps you have the physiological explanation and I just have an evolutionary theory.
Okay. Let me know.
So when we go into a sharp deficit quickly, that window of like increased energy, focus, want to move, like output goes up.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people get that. It's like the first couple of weeks of dieting, they're like, fuck, my brain just feels amazing.
Yeah.
Like how many people say like, I've gone keto and I feel amazing.
Yeah.
Until like a month later and they hate their life.
Yeah.
Is that because it's a sharp drop in energy availability that we need to create an environment where you're actually functioning better so you can address the situation?
Yeah.
So take the deer, for example.
Yeah.
I've been eating. It's gone. Here's some focus. Here's some energy. Here's some encouragement for you to be more active. Go catch a deer.
Yeah.
Then too long has passed. And you're like, bruh, all right, we've accepted it. There's no fucking food. Just don't die. Just slow everything the fuck down.
Yeah. Well, that leans into the reason why people would use a diet break and implement the diet break for a period of time that would give you those positive upregulations in your hunger hormones and your energy expenditure and those types of things. So it's you just used an evolutionary reason for why a diet break exists. It's just people don't use the diet breaks for long enough in order to get that feeling.
Yeah. It's almost like the opposite, hey, though. Like, it's almost the diet break for the surplus.
Yeah.
It's like you're heavy, you feel shit.
Well, you're just flipping.
And you're like, ugh. Yeah. It's like, well, here's 2 weeks in a slight deficit.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden, you're like, my brain's back. I feel like a fucking person.
Yeah, and you're just flipping the bridges.
Yeah. So
it's like the bridge of surplus to surplus has to have some form of like deficit in it, because that's where you'll get you'll downregulate the negative side effects and upregulate the positive ones from surplus dieting.
Yeah.
And then when you go bridge to bridge on deficit to deficit, it's just how long that bridge is in my opinion related to how much, say, land you've walked across before you get to that bridge. Yeah. So
it's just interesting, like that drop from the real high to the real low.
Yeah, that
it's
makes.
Like, I feel fucking great. I'm like, why?
Yeah, well,
why has this happened?
Yeah, and that would be because everything's where it needs to be, and there's probably some not probably. I would say it is heavily likely that there is some psychological, things at play there where you're like, I've just had this. I am full. I am. It's the whole pizza before you go squat thing, right?
Yeah.
If I have a pizza, I'll squat like
Carb
a PB.
Yeah.
It's like
people that carb load on cake.
Yeah, but it's like you're like, if I eat a pizza, I'm big. I feel full. I feel heavy. I feel strong.
Yeah.
You're just eating the pizzas over the week and going into the week. But and you're just like, well, I'm full and recharged and ready to go.
Yeah.
So I can fucking starve myself for this week.
Yeah, and also like there is that obviously in the back of your head, like this is fat loss week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leading into again the knowing the plan, understanding the objective.
Yeah, and I guess when you start a diet, like taking the cycle out of it, like when you start the diet, you're the most excited, you're the most motivated, you're the most all of those things. So you're looking for positives too. Yeah, because that's the other thing is just like, oh, I got up.
Yeah.
Like, okay, maybe you got up every day, you just didn't pay attention to it.
Yeah, and that's where the value is. How are we doing for time? We're good. That's where the value is in phasing fat loss. Like, I don't like those people that are like, I'm just losing weight. Mm-hmm. You really want to set a deadline because that's where those, positive mindsets about like, I've got to push this week. I've got to give this everything I've got because it's finite. Yeah. Where if you're just one of those people where you're like, I just want to lose weight. Like, sometimes you don't lose weight. So what do you do then? Yeah. Like, and it's like, is the reason that you didn't lose weight because you just know that it's another week. You can just keep pushing it out. Yeah. Where if you set a deadline, it's like, how would that change how you think, feel, and behave and approach everything? Yeah. So there you go.